In this book, the author is trying to give us a way to improve our chess thanks to a series of like 50 games in which we take the side of a candidate master. A candidate master is someone that is rated in US around 2000, 2100 against players rated 1800. This book is obviously really good in this sense because we all want to become grandmasters, but we don't understand that before to become grandmaster you need to pass from the master stage, or in this case the candidate master stage. And then we should have also a book how to become a master, where we probably see games from the perspective of a master. In the US is at 2200 against players that are rated around 2000, right? Notice there is this definition master in US 2200. In FIDE there is a FIDE master, I think that is 2300, and maybe it's also the title called Woman Grandmaster 2300. So it's the same of FIDE master. I have noticed a big difference between FIDE masters and national master in US, especially when they play blitz. The FIDE masters are really better, and that's kind of interesting. But the idea that you have to take the side of the candidate master, it will help you to improve. How does it do it? He says, hey guys, you have to use one of these to cover the moves. Well, thanks to this video format, you don't have to do that. You have to pause the video and eventually use one of these sand clocks for 3 minutes. You think for 3 minutes. Why do you have to do that? Because he also mentioned, well, these games that I'm showing you were played in tournament conditions. Tournament condition means that you don't have 1 hour for each move, right? So you need to keep it real, and you need to think for a finite amount of time in order to see if you get it right or not, because that's what would happen in a real tournament game. Okay? With that said, I will start to show you game number 5. This is called chapter 5. The white player is rated 1836 and you are black. Okay? The game starts with knight f3, c5, e4. So c5 was a kind of, so forgive me, but I also put my comments for those that maybe don't have much an idea, and so we can help them to improve, right? c5 clearly is fighting for the square d4. When white played e4, this became an open Sicilian, right? And black continue with knight c6, to which white played bishop b5. And here the author writes a comment. By now you may be wondering about the unusual lines being played in the Sicilian. Master chess is full of theoretical lines tested over and over again, with improvements waiting on move 23. These are the games published in most chess magazines, giving a false impression of the openings played at a lower level. There are several reasons why you will find unusual lines in the classic battle of 1800 versus candidate master. First of all, tournament play, especially in weekenders, is practical play. Whatever works is used. If the Rossolimo variation of a Sicilian, which is this variation, is not well known by your opponent, it may bring a full point. The 10,000 variations of the d4 Sicilian, this is the d4 Sicilian, are thus avoided. Okay, so what did black play at this point? Black continued with g6 because he wants to develop the bishop here and probably continue the fight for d4. Castle, bishop g7, and now this is a very interesting move because it fights immediately for d4 and is c3. That's kind of very interesting and very important if you think, because c3 also in a sense frees this bishop from going around, otherwise this pawn is unprotected, right? So c3 is limiting that bishop. A very interesting move. And I tell you this because in reality, when you play a tournament game, the first move of a game, sometimes if you go slow, you really acquire this understanding of how each move is played and why. So that's very nice, in my opinion. Black continue with d6, and white now play a dubious move. That is bishop take c6. Honestly, today, in my opinion, at 1800, I don't think he would play this. Because this book has been written with games from 1985, I think. But why I don't think they would play this? Because today an 1800 really knows that he doesn't want to give up the center like this very easily. Or maybe the 1800 I met, because they were young guys, they were all underrated. And that's the thing. The rating, honestly, it's very, very fluid. It's not something written in stone. So just because you have a player in front of you that is 1800, it's a mistake to think that is really not good in a sense, right? Okay, d takes c6. Obviously, I didn't see the comment of the author or the other move, but it's logical because you see why this wasn't good. Because this double pawn is not really bad because it controls the center. Generally, d5 is a square in the Sicilian that is used by this knight. Now it's not an outpost anymore, so that's a problem, right? And then with this move you also have opened a file for black. I don't think it tell you about this. No, it doesn't tell you about this, but what it tells you, and is a thing that I forgot to mention, is that now black has the bishop pair. The bishop pair, it's always preferred by grandmaster. So if they can have a bishop pair, they will keep it. And I think this is due to the fact that today a lot of people train with computers. Computers always want to have the bishop pair because for them it's really a big advantage. So after b takes c6, white continue with d3, obviously because he needs to develop this bishop, right? e5, he tries to get a grip of d4, also if this limit this bishop, right? Bishop e3, again we see that there is all a fight for a center, and knight f6. Here white plays h3, and here he asks you analyze 1. This is a waste of time. Why? So he asks you take your time now, right? Take 3 minutes and analyze why this is a waste of time. Okay? So here it says no candidate master playing for a win is going to decide on bishop g4. So he didn't give us another move. Let's say that he played knight bd2. He says he will not play bishop g4, and when you play h3 he will not play bishop f3. Because of queen takes f3, he says. Okay. Let's see another possible continuation, which he puts here. He says after Queen d2, he says you wouldn't play knight g4, bishop g5, f6, bishop h4 with an advantage. So he says that this gives an advantage to black. I'm not so sure, because in this moment it's very limited. Yes, black has a strange pawn structure, and this is bad, let's say, but honestly also white is kind of blocking himself. I don't see what is white going to do in this position. Okay, so let's go back to that position in which white played h3, right? So I think I'm in the correct position. So after h3, how do you continue as black? He played castle. Okay. And here white played c4. This type of move, the candidate master always look for the positional weakening. So this is the type of move the candidate master always look for, positional weakening. Okay. He says, analyze 2. What is a simple plan for black? The candidate master. Okay, so pause the video and try to find out what is the plan for black in this situation. Here he says the candidate master sees d4 and figures out a knight maneuver to get there. What is this maneuver? Okay, what is this maneuver to go on d4? Oh. I don't know. Let's see. It could be, I don't know. I make an example. I don't know. Knight e8, knight c7, knight e6, knight d4. It's 4 moves. Oh my god. I don't know if you want to spend 4 moves. Maybe there is something faster. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see what happens. He plays rook e8. So rook e8 probably has the idea. Knight d7, knight f8, knight e6, knight d4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Still 4 moves. Okay. Knight c3, knight d7, knight d2, sorry, knight d2, knight f8. And now it seems that white is missing the idea of black's move, because he plays queen c2. And here he writes, white apparently does not foresee black's knight maneuver, or he wouldn't place his queen here, where it will be attacked. White should undoubtedly have tried f4. So instead of this, he should have played f4. Then black will continue his plan. Okay, interesting. So black obviously played knight e6, and now he played f4. He takes f4. The beginning of an ingenious, if not quite sound, attack. The positional continuation, which would have been 14 knight d4, would also increase black's advantage, but the attacking line is good against 1800 players, who are, in general, poor defenders. Again, I think, I'm not so sure that 1800 players are poor defender. I find this in 1600 rated player, they are really poor defenders. Bishop takes f4, And now there is a dubious move played by black. So what would you play here if you were black? Because strangely it says that the next move is dubious, but it doesn't tell us which one is right. Let's see, okay? He played this, Queen h4, and it says it's dubious. Because of bishop takes d6, then there is knight g5, and white is faced with a multitude of threats. But knight f3 holds everything together, and let's see what happens. It says after bishop takes d6, bishop d4, king h2, knight g5, bishop g3, queen h5, queen d1 drives back black's attack. The conclusion: though 1800 players are poor defender, it is still gambling to shy away from positional play. The gamble may succeed more often than not, but unsound play is still a gamble. Masters don't often gamble. Candidate masters with many games against weaker opposition with successful gambles. Okay, candidate masters win many games against weaker opposition with successful gambles. Now, I honestly think it's a bad form, and you shouldn't gamble for a simple reason. Because if you have seen enough Grandmaster games, you see that they always defend everything before going to attack. And then when they attack, there is honestly no way to stop it because you don't have counterplay. That's the reality of it. So now let's go back to the position where it all started. Okay, we were in this position, and white played a dubious move, which is bishop e3. Again, I find that sometimes when he makes an evaluation like this, bishop e3 is not good, he should write what is the right move then to play in this game. Okay? Because it seems to me that this line that he put, that we just saw, bishop takes d6, should have been put after this move. After this move, he should have told you bishop takes d6 is better. Okay, so knight d4. Black goes back to his positional plan, fortunately unarmed by his gamble. It is important that you see there is fear in white's heart. At this stage, his thinking is lucky to be surviving. Such an attitude speeds up defeat. Okay, that's funny. Okay, so what did the white play here? He played queen d1. Okay, so guys, now again, you need to use your 3 minutes clock, pause the video, and decide what are you going to play if you were black, because I think this is a critical moment, right? So I hope you pause the video, and now I show you the move that black played. Bishop takes h3. Boom! That's an amazing move, right? And he says this is no gamble. Let's see why. If g takes h3, there is queen g3, king h1, queen takes h3, king g1, queen takes e3. And here it says is the simplest method of defeating white, but here again we see something that happens time and time again, like the snake hypnotizing the bird. I don't know if a snake can really hypnotize a bird. The 1800 player will not find the best line. Why? Because he believes he's losing. Best was 18 knight f3. Okay, so let's see what is saying here. And so I think this was the position, right? And he played bishop here. Obviously he says the best move in this case is this, he says. And sorry, this was here in reality. Okay, so so that's why. Okay, so that's why the queen on c2, right? And the knight on d4, bishop d3, knight d4. He played queen d1 and bishop takes h3. Okay, so this is the correct thing. So the best line here was this move. Yeah. Knight f3 in fact defends everything, because also if you play this, it doesn't matter, you're able to defend, and this is protected by this. Okay, so let's continue here. What did white play here? He played rook f4, and now queen g3, obviously threatening the checkmate, and rook f2. Yeah, okay, rook f4 was probably a mistake. Why did he play rook f4 and he didn't think of knight f3? That's interesting. And here it says, after rook f2, he plays bishop g4. And he says, the candidate master, however, strives to find good attacking moves everywhere. He foresees that queen e1 is refuted by what? By knight c2, right? Okay. So, what does white play in this position? White played knight f1. Wow. Again, pause your video and do this exercise. What do you play here as black? I hope you paused your video. He played queen takes f2 check. Bishop takes f2. Bishop takes d1. Knight takes d1. And rook b8. With an exchange and an extra pawn, black has a technically easy win. The game continues with knight g3, knight e6, rook b1, and knight f4. And here white resigned. Okay, so here, however, guys, I want to tell you one thing. If you really want to improve, you need to know how to convert this position that has a huge material advantage into a win. So my idea would be that you need to play this position against an engine and see if you are able to win. It's possible that an engine will not make you win easily, and that will teach you a good lesson that could happen also in the game, because sometimes when we are winning we relax, and that's not a good idea. Okay, So this was game 5 of how to become a candidate master. I wish everyone read it and become candidate masters. Thank you very much for watching.